one of the big things I want to cover today is number one, how to get unstuck and blast sales in today's 2025 world. You have a AI driven world, you have a social economy, and there's so much news and media going at your end buyers all the time. And you're also probably looking at so many different people telling you different things, leaving us overwhelmed, frustrated. And when that happens, it also leads to us being paralyzed. So my goal today is to reveal what is the only thing that matters and how to eliminate all the other distractions so you can have your next breakthrough. If you get this part wrong, nothing else matters. So here's the simple formula, right? It's just three simple steps. You may have heard parts of it before, and I want to clarify a few things for you. So in any business, the first thing that we got to get right is our offer. And so what this kind of stands for here is, how do we make offers? My first story that actually has practical application started when I got my nursing degree, came home, told my parents I'm not going into nursing, but I'm actually going to go be this motivational speaker. Just so you know, like when you leave college and you're 23 and you're totally broke and you have no mentors, no pathway, but you listen to a few audio tapes and you're like, I'm going to go do this. And we didn't have the internet back then. Let's just say the next few years was really bumpy. And it wasn't until someone came along and was like, look, dude, you need to take your expertise, the stuff that I was passionate about talking about, and you need to create an offer that people in your market would want to buy. Now, at that time, my market were volleyball coaches or coaches because I was teaching mental toughness for athletes. I did the whole Tony Robbins thing. I learned NLP, I learned hypnosis, and I just kept thinking that the better I got at helping people with mental toughness or overcome anxieties or fears or phobias or whatever it might be, the more money I would make. And this led me to understanding that the number one mistake that you could possibly have is to get so focused on your craft or what you're a genius at or what you think you're a genius at or the thing that lights you up. And you see this way with AI right now. People are so enamored with talking about AI and they're trying to sell AI. What we're going to come full circle with today is like the end user doesn't necessarily care about AI. The end user cares about their own problems, their own fears, their own uncertainties, and their own needs and wants and what's keeping them up at night, all those things. And so what I quickly realized was, look, I got to take this mental toughness thing and I got to package it. So my first product was $47. Okay. And it sold. And frankly, it was the most exciting thing that ever happened to me as I was selling using direct mail and I was selling using the internet. And this was all inspired because I listened to an audio tape. Like back then we had audio tapes. We weren't able to just like watch on YouTube and stream things. And the guy on the recording had said, your income is directly correlated to your ability to write sales copy and make offers. Okay. And I'll break those down a little bit. But when I heard that, I was like, I'm going to wake up every morning and I'm going to go do this. And so I'm a big believer in if someone else can do it, 1 + 1 = 2 or 1 and 1 = 11. But if I could find a mentor, I'm going to push this over. If I can find a mentor or a model and I could break down like the puzzle pieces of, okay, they do this and law of cause and effect. If I do these couple things, and then all of a sudden I'm able to replicate the outcome of that person, I'm all in. And so that was the first thing that really came to me was, hey, oops, I didn't realize I was going to go black out. Okay. Hey, I'm going to go sell his offers. Now there's more stories here in the volleyball market that I could tell you about. But one of the big things that quickly punched me in the face was this idea that I had to go find the people. Now, that is going to be one of the big parts of our formula, right? I had to go find the buyers. Now, the biggest problem why I did not stay in volleyball, why I did not stay in coaching is because the people did not have the criteria that was going to get me to the goals that I wanted. And this is a massive lesson. It's something I got to remind myself and my clients and people I work with on a daily basis because it's so easy for us to want to sell to people that we think want what we have, or we're trying to sell what we think they should have. But at the end of the day, it's who's our best buyers. What does that cohort or what does that group of people look like? And they have to have money. They got to be in pain. They got to have a need. They got to have a really strong want, actually. They got to be accessible. These are all the attributes. And the challenge I kept bumping up against was when I was selling to volleyball coaches is that there was only like 2,300 of them registered as volleyball coaches in the country. And as you may know, now they're way more accessible due to social media. But the fact of the matter is, they're not high income earners overall. So I was trying to sell something on mental toughness to a market of people that didn't necessarily want what I had. Number one, I had to convince them why mental toughness was important. And number two, they didn't really have a lot of money. And number three, they weren't really reachable. So are you starting to see like the mistakes I was making? I was like jabbing and hooking, and I was trying these things. And yeah, like my grittiness and my toughness allowed me to make some sales. But at the end of the day, I was just fighting this like boulder uphill constantly, right? And so what I ended up doing, and I'll get to the third part of the formula here in a second, but this is super, super important, is I had to change my offer, and it had everything to do with changing the people I was serving. Okay. Because the formula is simple, but we just got to make sure that we have this accurate. So instead of selling a 97, 47 and $97 product, I immediately upgraded to selling a $997 product. And I immediately changed the market to be dentists. I'll tell you how I got there in 1 second. Let's see if I can spell accurately in a second. Okay. So I stayed in that market for about 15 years, and I still have clients in the dental market, and I'm helping coaches, consultants, and people sell to dentists and in other markets like that as well. So this is a really good market for the right person. But you might say, how did you come to those conclusions? Okay. And this is where we apply just basic $1 million math. Okay. And this is why this formula, 3 simple steps, I'll summarize all 3 steps at the end of this, and you'll see how it comes full circle. But one night, it was literally a Thursday, I played volleyball in an adult league. I came home, everyone was going to the bar. I was trying to figure out how to like make this dream come true of actually being an entrepreneur. So I came home and I was reading an article, a blog post, right? Now I mostly watch YouTube videos like what you're watching right here. But he said, hey, if you want to make X dollar, let's say it's $1 million, whether it's revenue, whether it's net profit, that's a different discussion, but let's just keep things simple. He said, I want you to take your average sale price. So at the time it was $47, right? And I want you to now take, say, $1 million, which 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, take divided by 47, right? So I don't know where my handy dandy calculator is. It's down there. But what I can tell you by just looking at this is that I needed to sell a heck ton of that $47 product to a broke audience, that there wasn't a lot of them. And I immediately saw the flaw in my business model. There weren't enough people buying at the rate that I would want them to even come close to hitting some of the goals that I want to hit. However, if you take this 47 and you just divide it and you say 997 or $1,000, right? And you do the same exact equation, right? You divide that, all of a sudden, you're looking at 1,000 buyers can get us to this goal, okay, at that price point. Now, this is where you could start messing around with the money math, right? You get to say, look at this. What if I sold something that was $2,000 or $10,000? And all of a sudden, fellas, like you start seeing this 1 million, 1 million, divide it, you need 100 buyers there. And then for this, you would need what? 500 buyers. The ability to reach a number amount became way more attainable. I just had to go find out where these people were. And then the other thing on this, because we haven't even talked about the first part of the formula, I got to figure out what I'm going to offer them, right? Now, no matter what market you're in, no matter what you're doing, okay, no matter who you're selling to, the number one way to figure out, to give you some clues on where to start looking at for offers, is to look at what's already selling in that space. What are they buying already in that space? Now, what I did specifically is I reached out to a mentor and I said, hey, you guys are in a similar industry to these guys, okay? Similar industry. Is there any way I could work for free to learn what you're doing so I could bring it over to dentistry or another place? And they're like, no, we don't do that. We don't let people just work for free. However, if you wanted to license my materials and go into that market, go for it. And so I was able to figure out a way to get enough money to license their materials, and I was able to figure out how to go into that space. And very quickly, we had to figure out, where are these people at, right? We had an offer. Now we had to figure out the people. And one of the big criteria, I'm going to go to people here for a moment, because here's an audience. One of our big criteria, by the way, if you go into our description, there should be an invite to a free training where I go into this in depth. right? I'm going to share one of the most important elements, though, when you start thinking about selling anything, offering products, offering AI SaaS, turning your expertise into a paid income, trying to sell your supplements, whatever it might be. We always go and we look at where's the audience. And one of the ways we do that is online, can I reach them? And you got FB, Facebook, you got YouTube, you got TikTok, you got all these things, right? And then you go in, you look at trade magazines online. And then the other thing you're going to go look at is you're going to go look at potential comparable businesses where we could either rent email drops or get promotions and then pay them a commission or whatever it might be. We're asking this number one question: where is our audience already hanging out, that if we were able to go to that fishing hole, it would be very easy for us to reach those people? In dentistry, I did two things at once. One is I cut a joint venture with somebody that's been in there for a lot longer. And then I also went to trade magazines and I dropped email drops. What's so cool about nowadays is you could go to YouTube, and I'll just point up here, all the socials, just like I am right now talking to you. Right now, as I'm talking to you, this video is being syndicated on 5 different social media platforms. And so it's highly leverageable. And I would encourage anybody, one of the first things you need to do, if you're an expert, business, something like a promoter of some sort, you either go find the person on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook that has big audiences, and you offer to pay for them to endorse you or to promote you or to interview you, whatever that might be, or both, right? Money's attracted to speed. We like moving quickly. We like trying multiple things simultaneously, right? Key is to start promoting content that helps people get insight in what they could possibly do to solve their biggest problems. And if you're the one providing the valuable insight, they're going to view you as an authority. No trust follows that. And when no trust is created, especially when you're creating assets like this, is considered a video asset, a digital asset, that a certain percentage of you are going to check out our free training, maybe join us for a challenge, maybe join you for a workshop, whatever it might be. But we know that the more good quality content we provide our audience, and the more money we're going to make. Now, what's so powerful now, folks, that didn't exist when I first started, and why you, no matter where you're at on your journey, have a massive advantage than to when I started, even 3 years ago, even 5 years ago, is that YouTube and all the socials, they are now changing their algorithms to make it possible for you to reach your best clients, purely because they have this thing called the algorithm, right? They want their subscribers and people who are on their channel to stay on the channel. So if you're producing valuable content that solves a problem, YouTube's going to go find the people in that space that is looking for that solution. I don't know how it works. It's pretty darn amazing. But what you do need to know is that it's working, and it's working for a lot of people right now. So it's time to get in the game and time to work it out. So let's go back to this. Are you tracking me on this? We have an offer and we have an audience. We have an offer. Now we have an idea of the audience. We have an idea of the audience. Sometimes you need to launch an offer to see who raises their hand and buys, to figure out and get clarity on the audience. This is important. I'll say this real quick. Where most people plateau, where most people get stuck, is they have too many meetings thinking about the best way to launch what they think is going to be the best offer. And what I can tell you from personal experience is that nobody knows if it's going to work until you launch it to the audience and you see what the sales are actually going to happen. And I get it. When clients come to our events or they show up and they want to know the perfect solution. And what our job is to do is to take away all the mistakes that you're already about to make and zero down into the 10% test that's going to give us the highest probability for massive success. Quick story on this one. I was on a three-way call today. I'm a consultant in this one, where we're running live lunch and learns to sell dental treatments, dental implants, sleep apnea, okay? And the question is, what's it going to cost us to run this? And the answer is, I'm just going to make this up, $3,500 in total. We're going to fill up 2 lunch and learns. From past experience, this is the number of patients that have come through. In one case, it was like 30 patients. In another case, it was 15. Those are phenomenal numbers. But I had to tell the doc on the call, but listen, all we're trying to do right now is see if we can hit a single, or if this is going to be a double. And if we hit a grand slam, we celebrate. But I'd be celebrating if we hit a single, because we're in the game, we're getting results, we're breaking even or profitable, And now we have a system that we can start thumping along. Does that make sense? So I just want to encourage you, get in the game, start throwing mud at the wall, start making, we want to do it strategically and with based on proven formulas, but that's when you're really going to know. So you excited, you encouraged, you got to get rolling here. So anyhow, so we go our offer, right? So our offers are here. This is what I would call, there's a loop on this, fellas, just so you know, there's a loop on this information feeds this information and it moves like that. Okay. Now, the other thing is, okay, pathway to 7 figures is that once we get some sales here with this offer to an audience, we make more offers. Okay. Now, watch this formula get really simple here. We got more offers to more people more often. And I believe I got that from one of the legends virtual mentor of mine, Myron Golden. But if we take, we got 3 offers, we got 3 million people coming through our stuff, small percentage buy, let's say 1% buys, I'm just making this up for giggles. And then we are able to promote to them, not 12 times a year, but what's 12? So that's 36 times a year. Okay. The math to this works in our favor. It just, get crystal clear on who we selling to, what is the main problem we're solving, and then what can we offer them? And then when we offer them something, what else are they willing to buy? So I have 2 quick stories on this, and then we'll wrap this up, right? So when I went into the health supplement space, we were selling longevity products, really good products, had brought in a doctor, anti-aging doctor. We still have him today, by the way, at uncommonnutrition.com if you want to check that out. But we launched, I hired a copywriter, wasn't cheap, hired a copywriter because that was going to be an asset to promote and get it out to people. And we were making sales, making a lot of revenue, but I was at break even. Once you took my cost of goods sold out, a little crazy town, right? Wasn't putting any cash in my pocket. And so one of the things I noticed was that the testimonials that started coming into our office were talking about how people were going into their doctor's office and the doctor was shocked by healthy blood pressure numbers of people that previously did not have healthy blood pressure numbers. Okay. And so that gave us 2 things. One, a clue, like, wow, we're getting results for people. And if you go through, when we teach how to target a market, we look at pain scale and we look at how often are they thinking of the pain. And people who are struggling with high blood pressure and their roller coaster numbers are concerned about it a lot. Like it's daily, it's multiple times a day. It might be preventing them from doing things they love. And so that's like a pressing problem. And so when you think about the hierarchy of what are they concerned about, blood pressure on a 0 to 10 scale, 10 being not at all, 10 being like crazy concerned about it, 0 being not at all. Are people more concerned about high blood pressure or longevity? And the reality is I can give you the answer. It's without question something like high blood pressure. Okay. And so by changing that angle and that structure, we were immediately able to see a higher conversion rate at a higher value. We could charge more. And that was a game changer in that business. Okay. Now, when we work with local clients, what we're always trying to look at, and this was great, like you're selling to local businesses and you're selling something like AI, or you're selling something like how to get ranked, how to get whatever. You got to remember that those are the shiny objects, but that's not what you're offering. Your offer is how to become the number 1 authority in your area that everybody knows, likes, trusts, and refers to, so that you can sit down with pre-educated, pre-interested, pre-qualified, insert the niche you serve. So you never feel like you're being salesy. And so the reason that's not happening for you guys is because currently you're invisible. That's a pain problem. And we can make you 3-mile famous, 10-mile famous, radius famous to your best buyers. That's how you sell shiny objects like AI. You don't come out and sell AI. It's very similar if the hammer nail thing about drilling the holes. What are you selling? The drill bits, or are you selling the holes? You're selling the holes. And just remember, what are they really buying? That's what you want to focus on. Okay. And that's super important. So we see in that just recently, really last thing I'll say, and then we'll wrap this up, is we had a client that just literally brought in a $60,000 dental implant case after doing an interview with us. We do these offer wingman interviews with people. And the headline said, "End your frustration end your denture frustrations and missing teeth and failing missing teeth. And then it was like a little video clip of the doc positioning himself as the authority by being helpful. Go figure. And the guy came in, he's like, yeah, I watched your video, I watched your interview, I'm ready to move forward. And the doc was like, you do realize it's 30,000 per arch, right? And the guy was like, yeah, totally. He'd already done his research. He'd probably already gone to other dental implant centers, and he was ready to go forward. Now, the key point there is, where did we reach that man at? We reached him at his pain point. We reached him at his pain point. We didn't talk about the sale price of dental implants. We didn't talk about anything else. We said you can end your denture frustrations. That's always worked. So when you think of your best buyers, what I'd like to challenge you with is like, what can we end for them? What can we help them escape? What can we eliminate? What thing are they thinking about that they'll never verbalize, that you may know because you're doing all the research and you're talking to these best buyers of yours? And what I would challenge you with is that if you can restructure, go back and look at, if you have an offer, go back and look at it and ask yourself, like, how can I help these people eliminate these 3 or 4 things? It doesn't have to be a lot, just to be really simple. And I promise you, if you start producing content that solves that problem, you're going to see people are going to start moving to you much faster. You're going to get more referrals. You're going to get more organic sales, which is a key focus of our company right now. If you produce content, I said it before, that people value, they come to you. And you just got to trust me on one thing. It's very much like a tsunami effect. It starts small. It starts under the ocean. Nobody sees it coming. It comes in hundreds of miles off the shore. But once you get to a tipping point, it just will be an avalanche for your business. So I'm Ed O'Keefe. I want to invite you, if you like this today, this is just scratching the surface of what we do with our 1 offer away challenge. There should be a nice little coupon underneath here in the description. If you'd like to take a test drive with it, check it out. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. We'd love to support you. Hopefully you'll like this. Leave a comment. I try and respond to all comments, and have an amazing day. All right. Appreciate you so much.